This is the Two Marketeers podcast, where hosts and marketing experts Sean Patrick and Lindsay Waugh seek to uncover what makes brands so powerful in how they impact modern society and culture.
Two Marketeers. They've got a podcast. The Two Marketeers podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great, Sean. How are you?
I'm good, Lindsay. Hello, marketeers.
Hello, marketeers. We hope you're having a great day.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Two Marketeers podcast.
Dun, dun, dun. That's our theatrical performance.
Love it. So today, we're going to dive right in and we're going to talk about the art of the pitch.
Ooh.
I'm left-handed and I can't throw very well. So we're actually
You're left-handed?
Yeah, we're actually talking about advertising or marketing pitches, creative pitches. When we say creative pitches to big brands or even small brands, but we're going to talk about big pitches.
I think I've known you for about 12 years and I didn't know you were left-handed.
Really? What does that say to you?
Creativity.
Yeah. Right brain, baby.
Okay.
All right. I recently read an article from The Drum. Is that still your favorite, Lindsay? I think you've moved on. Or are they still top?
I think you told me to move on, so now I've moved on. You were like, if you talk about The Drum anymore, we are not going to be friends. You don't work at The Drum. And then here you are surfacing a little nugget from The Drum. And I was like, didn't see it because I'm not allowed to be on The Drum anymore.
A lot of love there, right, folks?
I do still love The Drum.
So it's 2025, and I thought it was time for me to revisit what the art of the pitch actually is. When I thought about it, the thing it made me realize is I remember more bad pitches than good pitches.
Like bad as in the team just didn't do a good job? Or what do you mean as bad?
Oh, like I was terrible. Just being thrown off guard.
Mm.
The good pitches, what's interesting is some of the best pitches I've done, and Lindsay, we've done them together. I know one of them is one with you. Some of the best pitches end up not being one. Some of the best pitches I did or the team I worked with didn't even win. And that's the really interesting thing here is so many times we hear about these wins, right? These amazing wins. And we talk about, that boardroom moment about like standing in front of them, clients saying yes. But we only hear that story after a successful campaign, after a successful execution of whatever the win involved, right? But the thing about pitching is it's more often disappointing than not disappointing. Would you agree?
I don't know.
It's one of those things where we never want to hear about the bad pitches, but I have to do the math and say of all the pitches I've been in, done, led, followed, I've definitely been in pitches that haven't won more than I've been in pitches that have won.
Yeah, I think, the reason I say I don't know is just because like, I love pitching. Like, it's so fun and it's so fun to pitch. So even if it was a bad pitch, I think I still had a great time.
I love that.
And now that I don't, like oftentimes because like you come in as like a strategy consultant situation, I don't really know often what happens. Like sometimes I don't even know if they won. Sometimes I don't even know that they won until I see a campaign come out or something on LinkedIn. I was like, oh my gosh, they won that pitch. So I don't have the follow-up afterwards, which is why I'm not sure if it matters to me if it's a good or bad pitch, because I'm just having a great time.
Well, that's so great.
And also you were a great pitcher. When we pitch together, I feel that we're typically having a great time.
We absolutely are. And that's the point. The point is, I say disappointing. I mean, basically the goal wasn't achieved because you always go into a pitch hoping you win the business. You mature to a point to, like Lindsay, you're that great example of that is let's get in that room and let's do what we do best. And what pitching means to you is very different of what pitching might mean to a lot of people. And I think your situation is good one. The way I describe you, just on what you just said, is you're the ringer in a lot of cases, right? Where you're brought in for the win and you go away. I mean, that's just what happens. And I think that you've made that happen. I think that with all your experience and all the different things, you understand the role you want to play in a pitch and what is expected of you. And I feel like going in with that position as the expert, you don't have the pressure of actually winning.
So it's so funny because as you were just saying that, I was thinking in my mind, the reason I just go in and have a great time is because I don't have the pressure to win, because it's not my company. Or when it is my company, I suppose I do feel the pressure to win. But when you say that there's no, you're brought in as the expert and there's no pressure, when you say it and I hear you say that, I'm like, that sounds like so much pressure to come in and be like, we're going to bring you in and you're going to help us win the pitch and all that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, fine.
Okay, but here's the thing. When you're in that room, you're getting paid to be in that room. That is your business in that circumstance.
That's right.
So you have been paid and earned it well to do the work or apply the knowledge you've acquired to do what you already do best. And how that outcome is, especially when you're a ringer, really doesn't impact whether that gets won or not.
Because that is my job. I'm not trying to win my job out of the scenario. That is my job.
Yes, you're not trying to win your keep.
The funny thing is, I think that the more you go in and you just have fun and I was reading in that article you shared from the drum, the more that you're unapologetically you and not trying to be something, you just go in as unapologetically you. The more I do that, the more successful I am.
Yes.
Which in the beginning, I would never have done. I would have been like, what do they want me to be? How am I don't want to be too loud. I don't want to be not loud enough. I don't want to wear the wrong thing. I was so in my head about pitching in the beginning. And now it's not that I don't care, because I do care, but.
No, it's not, but that is not your motivation. And I think it's the difference between feeling like you're performing versus being yourself, sharing what you truly believe based on your expertise, and actually, or complying to what you have been told the client believes, right? So the way I look at it, and we'll get right into the article, but it's exactly what we're talking about. There's this article from the Drum where it's called The Great Pitch Theater is in quotes, debate. Should agencies go big or keep it simple? And I was like, we had just actually recently done a pitch together, which I hadn't done in a long time. So it was fresh in my mind. It was probably also something on my computer was listening and sent me this. And basically the article, which is by Sam Anderson, you should check it out. We'll add the link. It says, we ask industry chiefs the literal $1 million question. What's their secret to winning a pitch? And in the arms race to impress a potential client, how much is too much?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the whole thing. And it's an interesting article because here's what they say. They say, you'd struggle to find a marketer or agency boss who thinks the pitch process is perfect. Like, we all know that, right?
It's very far from perfect.
Exactly. In fact, whenever the people who do pitches are polled, it's easy to get the impression it's a process that precisely no one is happy with. That's why I love this article, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of work for no guarantee of reward. An alchemical, I think I pronounced that right, hard to pin down matter of commerce and relationships boiled down to a few meetings and a slideshow. A good chance that the whole process will end in no one at all winning any work.
It's true, but how do you do it differently?
Oh, that's not what this is about.
I know. This is one of the things where we complain about it all the time. Not we, the collective we.
Yeah.
We're just like, the process is flawed. But if you just said, we're not going to pitch, we're going to do something else, and the clients are like, well, we're asking you to pitch, and this is how we think we can choose our next best partner. And your point of view could be like, that's not right. But what then? I don't know. That's a different episode, I suppose.
Yeah. So it's not working. We know that. I don't know how to fix it. What I found really interesting was I honestly, if you got through the whole article, but I don't know, I got to believe there's like 20 different leaders who have talked about their tips, their tricks. And I'm not a huge fan of tips and tricks without context.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay already blew it. Essentially, the message in most is to be unapologetically yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you do that? Like that's the problem, is the entire thing is flawed. And in some, like, it's almost like an obstacle race. It's almost like like a Survivor episode. It's that sort of like competitive survive. The scenario you put forward is, someone says, we're looking for a partner, and no, they're not. They're dangling $1 million, $5 million, $10 million and putting it out there to say who is willing to do whatever they can to win the business. We can't wait to see your entry. And that's why, like they say, in the end, most times, no one ends up winning because it goes in so uninformed. The problem is as a strategist and a creative, I struggle with, I don't like to just fix things. I like to actually, the more information I can get is what I've learned as a problem solver. To be a good problem solver is to really understand the problem before you even consider a solution. And in most cases, going through the act of problem solving and identifying the problem, solutions just start popping up. And that is completely not possible in a traditional pitch.
I think the reason why they give the advice of being unapologetically you is because I think when people are requesting a pitch or putting out an RFP, what they're looking for, they may say, we're looking for next creative campaign or whatever it is. I think what they're actually looking for is a partner. And the way that you assess partnership is through people. So I think if you go into a pitch being unapologetically you and bring your point of view and your personality and all of that, it helps clients assess who you are. I think then in those rooms, in pitches, they are actually buying the people versus the work. So I think the pitch is a vehicle. The slide deck, the presentation is a vehicle for you to demonstrate the type of people that you're bringing forward to work on this business.
Yeah.
So the reason why I feel that the pitch process is flawed is because it doesn't give enough opportunity to assess the people and the relationship and see if this is going to be a good partnership for you.
Yes.
But when you go into the pitch bringing your full self and your personality and the variety of people who are going to work on the business and give them the opportunity to not only share their knowledge, but more so share who they are, their personalities, then it helps the clients know who you are and if you are going to be a good fit for their business. So I actually feel sometimes the solutions don't matter. It depends on how they're delivered, and how they're delivered helps the client assess whether you're going to be the right partner. And we talk about this all the time, where it's like everyone has a process slide, everyone has a creative process, everyone has a budget slide, everyone has concept ideas. You bring 2 or 3, and they say that they want you to go through those exercises so that they can see how you think. I think, yes, they want to be able to see how you think, but more so, I think they want to see who you are.
I think the pitch as a mechanism can work. The process or the scenario where the pitch is often applied is where it's flawed. So there's a couple of things here that I thought were really interesting. So Adam Levine, chief marketing officer at this company called Luckwire, he said, I've seen sushi chefs flown in, CEOs dismantling watches in the world's largest manicure station. Yes, everyone got one. Pitch theater at its most extra, but the best theater is strategic, not gratuitous. There it is. There's so much gratuitous, so much smoke and mirrors that detracts, exactly like you said, from what the client is actually looking for. The challenge is, because of the perception of pitches, the client thinks they want to pitch. They think they want to be wowed. They think it's theater. And I'm not saying this is a mistake. It's what pitches have kind of become. The article says, the last thing any agency wants is for the client to remember the theater more than the pitch.
I think the theater is also a vehicle to demonstrate you're the type of team that's going to go above and beyond. So it's like it's not the sushi, right? It's the mechanism. It's like, what do you want that client to walk away from? I've seen a lot of very extravagant pitch theater win a lot of big business. So sometimes it's not wrong. I think it depends on the message you're trying to deliver.
You're absolutely right. And in those cases, it's the right thing. I think what I've seen happen a few times is the pitch theater is adopted, but for situations where it's not the right approach. So this other guy said, Chris Woodward, executive director, said, he's at Oliver. He says, if you play by the rules, you'll probably lose the pitch. Your best option is to not pitch at all.
I mean, maybe, but that's kind of a luxury. Like sometimes you just got to do it.
If it absolutely makes sense, I guess it's just all about context. So even if it's theater, I do feel I feel like what's not working is there's this understanding that there's one way to do a big pitch. So with the struggle of the investment it takes to go all out, all of this all of this investment in all of this time of theater, when only very few does that mechanism applied across the board ever win in the end. So again, all those big theater pitches you see, there were 5 others that didn't win. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, instead of striving for, yes, that's absolutely applicable, but we need to understand that the art of the pitch is more than just that. The art of the pitch is, what are your rules? And for me, it's about, I don't anymore go into pitches unless I know what I need to know to answer their questions honestly.
Yeah. I think answering their questions in the best way is one piece of being strategic. The other pieces which need to be taken into consideration are strategy, like your pitch strategy in totality. You need to know who you're up against, what those people are likely to do, what the criteria of actual success metrics look like for that client. Like, do they want to be taken out? Though that can really play also into their psychology around who they choose. You need to know all about the people in the room. You need to know where they've worked. You need to know what they post about on social media. Like, all of these elements help you bring forward a more strategic pitch. And it may say that a sushi chef in this scenario isn't right, or maybe it is, or maybe could be if you're trying to win the Four Seasons, definitely not if you're trying to win Walmart. Like, all of these elements play into making a strategic pitch, even beyond the words that are in your presentation.
This Andy Griffiths, not the guy from the TV show, he works at Space and Time. He says, now more than ever, chemistry is a key factor to winning new clients. So bring who you are, not just what you do, into your pitch. Agreed.
Yeah.
Great conversation. Have a great week, marketeers. Lindsay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean. Have a great day. Thanks, marketeers. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Two Marketeers podcast. New episodes launch every 2 weeks.
Find the Two Marketeers podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you like to listen. And be sure to rate and subscribe.
Listen on our website, thetwomarketeers.ca, or you can ask Alexa to play the Two Marketeers podcast.
Want to keep in touch? Follow the Two Marketeers on LinkedIn or at Two Marketeers on TikTok. We've always got something to share.
This podcast is over.